guys, Mike McElwain with workouttrainer.com at the personal home fitness studio, The Gym, where Dr. Jim Stepani and I train. So today is kind of a cool video. A little bit of science here for you guys. We have a suspension tension scale here. And I want to talk to you guys about the bands. If you just saw this video, you probably noticed I was squatting with the bands. And it showed me I had 135 pounds on the bar plus the bands. Now a lot of people say, oh my gosh, why don't you just add more weight? Why don't you just, throw more weight on there? What's the benefit? Bands are for hipsters and, sissies and all that. Look guys, if you don't understand the benefits of the bands, I'm going to show them to you using this and then explain to you why it's beneficial. So let's just look at something real quick. This is a tension scale. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna place this tension scale up here. And this is about the height of where the bar is at the bottom here. It kind of meets the top of where the bands are, all right? What we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this tension scale on. So the bands have over 400 pounds of resistance, okay? So total, what that means is that all the bands in the kit, there's over 400 pounds, right? You get 400 pounds in a bag that weighs less than 10. So what does that mean? Well, we're gonna go ahead and start adding this. As you can see, we just added, this band is considered a 30-pound band, which means on each side it has 30 pounds. Now the further that you stretch it, the more weight you have. Right now it says 66 pounds of resistance at the top here. Now as you add more bands, as we're gonna do, this is one of the other bands, you add that. Now it has at 102 pounds of resistance. And then we add the other band. Now these are all the bands that I actually had on the barbell. So as you can see here, there is about 144.5, call it 145 pounds of resistance just with this set of bands, 3 bands. Now you have to double that because we also have the same amount of resistance on the other side. Just the barbell, just the bands. You have, once again, 144, call it 145 pounds, since we're gonna be kind of doing some math here, on either side of the bar. Just with the resistance of the bands. Just the resistance of the bands, guys. How much is that? 100 plus 100, 200 pounds. 45 plus 45 is 90. So 290 pounds of just resistance from the bands. Now we have to also add in this 45-pound bar, right? So the 45-pound bar on top of that is 335, right? Yeah, 335 pounds. 335 pounds of resistance plus the free weight at the top of the movement. But then we also have to add on the 45 pounds on either side. So that's a total of 90 pounds. So what is that? We have 335 pounds plus 90, 330 plus 90 is 420 plus 5, 425 pounds. So when you're actually squatting, people say, oh, bands, no. Hey, listen guys, try and unrack this. And when you unrack it, if you saw in the video at the beginning, it was very difficult for me to unrack. Now here's the other difference of the bands. It's a weight distribution that is not like free weight. Free weight, you can kind of control a little bit because you're moving with gravity. There's almost, this little momentum, okay, which you have to control. With the bands, it is pulling you down so much, it literally snaps you and fires you back. Your muscles they're working overtime to kind of coordinate this. The bands it's like a rubber band, it's quick, right? Very quick, everything's quick with the bands, everything's quick. This tension, this is exactly what your muscles are doing, just so you guys know. You see this? The brrr, kind of like the vibration? That is essentially what your muscles are doing when you unrack using the bands because of this instability here. Kaiser Fitness Equipment actually makes their entire fitness line of equipment utilizing these principles of just constant tension to where it's not about gravity. There's actually a compression system that you compress the weight with air, but it's real jerky, okay? That is really using all those stabilizer muscles as well as the fast twitch muscle fibers. It's a twitch rate, right? It's kind of jerky. So that in itself is just difficult enough to maintain and hold. So you have 425 pounds on this. Well, yeah, people say, well, as you go down, the weight gets lighter. As you come up, the weight gets heavier. That's the benefit of the bands. It's just like chains. So I'm going to actually demonstrate exactly what this looks like and demonstrate and show you guys exactly how much weight, so you actually know the weight ratio and why that's important. We know that we have roughly 425 pounds at the top. What does that look like at the bottom? Let's go around here. This is about where the bar is. Once you get down to the bottom, okay? So as you're down here with the bands and you're down, you're about right there. So let's start adding bands. Let's turn it on. Scale says 0 pounds. Start adding these bands. So we know that at the bottom of the movement, when we descend down, we started with 425 pounds at the top. As we descend down, the bands lose tension. Not all the tension, there's 50, call it 50 pounds on either side. So we now have 100 pounds of just resistance, plus the bar. 145 pounds of resistance. Add 90, because we also had the 45s on either side, the bumper plates. So that's 90, so what's that? 235 pounds at the bottom. So your weight ratio changes from 425 to 235, almost over 200 pounds, 210 pounds of a weight ratio change. Why is that important? Why, oh, whoa, Mike, yeah, of course, you'll be able to do it. Here's the reason why, guys. Here's the reason why this is important. That is called, by definition, linear variable resistance training. What does that mean? That means that we all know, you ever take off a lot of weight, okay? You squat down, you bench, and you come down, and you come back up. You have to be able to push or press. Let's just talk about the squat. You have to be able to squat as much weight as you are weak. Think about that. You have to squat as much weight as you are weak. And why is that? Because as you descend downward into the squat, there's what's called concentric and eccentric motion. As you descend downward, eccentrically, you're actually stronger, okay? This first 50% down here, you're stronger. The other 50% concentrically, you're also at your, this range of motion is actually your strongest point. That's the reason why people a lot of times don't go down all the way. Or some people will do what's called half squats. Purposely, they'll only squat, they'll load up the weight and they'll just work on this. And that's because they can't lift that heavy weight down to here, all right? So what happens is that you have to be able to limit yourself by how weak you are. Which means if I'm squatting 425 pounds, I better be able to get that 425 when I'm down here, or else I'm not going to be able to come back up. So the way that the muscle actually fires, if you were to hook it up, and if muscles peak contractions like this, it scales up and then kind of plateaus off. So what you have to do is, if you really want to increase your if you want to break through your plateaus, increase your strength, use the bands, because what's going to happen is it forces your body to actually have more weight added at its strongest points in that muscle's range of motion. So it allows you to lift more weight when you have to, which you are strongest at. So as you descend downward, the weight decreases, okay? So it's actually consistent with the way that the muscle is actually firing, right? You're getting weaker, so the weight's getting less. But as you come back up, as you're getting stronger, the weight is actually increasing, which is recruiting more of the type 2B fast twitch muscle fibers, which are the muscle fibers that grow the biggest and the strongest. The other benefit, now you can do the same thing with chains. People say, oh, well, let's do it with chains. Yes, absolutely. Here's the difference. Chains, you don't have the twitchiness. You don't have this, because chains are just controlled by gravity. There's still momentum involved. Bands add that other factor called speed. We just demonstrated. You have over 425 pounds of resistance at the top. Extremely heavy weight. As you go down, you're still getting that heavy weight. 235 pounds is no slouching effort. But the weight ratio changes, which means that your muscles are constantly firing in ways that they're not when you just have free weight alone. I'm not saying that it's better, it's another variable, but research has shown that the individuals, there's a university, this is the same study I actually did years ago, and I found that it was amazing with the people who I had actually conducting some aside. 6 people doing it, but anyway, the published study was from University of Louisiana Lafayette, I believe. I believe that was the college who did it. They had, I think it was 42 subjects who trained this way. Half of them, 22 male and female, trained athletes, trained in the bench, the squat, and a regular workout program, just with the free weight. The other 22 did the exact same thing, just on the bench and on the squat, they actually used the bands plus the free weight. There was over 30% increases in the bench, the squat, and I believe their power ratio. The research doesn't lie, guys. You guys have seen, you know, these little flimsy bands and all that you probably get in Big 5. Here's a cool thing. Here's one of the cool things about these bands, okay? Little flimsy 5-pound band. Stretch to the max, hold me up. 230 pounds, hold me up. Arms out straight, I'm just sitting here. How is this little rubber thing holding my entire weight? I'll even do this. It's holding me up. Why is it not snapping? Why can I actually do this? Little hidden technology inside this, guys. There's actually a bungee cord that has a tensile strength of something like 600 pounds. I can hang from this little flimsy 5-pound band. Why is that important? It'll never snap on you. Get the bands, guys. Gym strength bands. Only available at jimstepani.com. Use them. They will change the way that you train. They will change the way that you get results. I promise you, I wouldn't even be doing this if I didn't really believe in it. Get the bands, guys. Check them out. It's Mike Mackerlane. Take care.